Hi everybody, Ellen here. Today I come to you guys with sort of another wrap up of the year 2018, and this will be the last one I believe. But today I'm going to talk about my most disappointing reads of 2018, and I actually have 8 books that I read last year that I feel like they didn't really live up to my expectations, and these are books that got, I think, like 3.5 stars or lower. And yeah, I haven't put these in any particular order because that would be too darn hard, but I'm just going to tell you guys what the books were and why I didn't really like them that much. So the first book, which I've expressed my feelings about a few times, but that is Three Dark Crowns by Kendra Blake, and I know a lot of people love this series, but I read the first book during vacation, so it was in the summer, and I thought the book was so slow for starters, and I didn't really connect with any of the characters because I didn't really like them, and I felt like all of the female main characters actually were so obsessed with the fact that they needed a guy that really liked them and adored them, and that was like their entire life were like floating around that part, and it just really annoyed me, and just nothing interesting happened. And it wasn't until like the very literally end of the book that I felt like, interesting, but not interesting enough to want me to pick up the next book in this series ever, because I was bored out of my mind. And then we have The Wicked and the Divine. I don't really remember the author's name right now, but it will be shown here. And this was a graphic novel, and it's supposed to be, about gods that come back and sort of relive in a new person, really. And it was so confusing to starters. There was like no explanations for anything, and it was so weird, and you didn't get it at all. I mean, it sounds like a cool concept, but it was so weird, and you were so lost, and I thought that it was like the longest read ever, and it was a graphic novel. And then we have The Glass Bear by Lauren Stefano. I feel like a lot of these books have like the same factors in common to why I didn't like them, but this is The Glass Bear, and I feel like the concept sounded really cool because the main character can make like sort of glass bears I suppose on anything really. And I mean, it sounded cool, and it sounded like something I have never heard before, but it was so boring. Nothing happened, and the main character had like no personality, and she was really annoying and boring, and it was just so boring, and I just felt like the book never ended. And I read this one with Jamie, and she felt the exact same way. So I mean, it was just not good. Now we have Wild Beauty by Anna Marie McLemore. This is a magical realism book, and that's not really my typical genre, I realized after having read this book, because it was just a little bit too weird for me. I mean, it was beautifully written and everything like that, just not enough happened to intrigue me, and it was just a little bit too weird for me at some points, and I was a little bored. It was definitely not the worst read of the books that I have on this list, but just not for me. Now we have The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I looked forward to reading this book for such a long time, and I really enjoyed it at first, but then a little bit more than halfway through I felt like it kind of pushed the brakes a little bit, because it slowed down remarkably. Nothing new really happened, and I felt like we had to wait so long for something interesting to happen again. So I mean, the first half was really interesting and good, and I really liked it, and then it was just kind of bleh. So yeah. Now we have Aristotle and Dante Discovers the Secrets of the Universe. I think it's like their longest title ever, I can never remember it. But this one is written by Benjamin Alarissians, and this is a contemporary book. We meet Dante and Aristotle, and they're really different from each other, but they fall in love. And I had such high hope for this book because I had heard so great things about it, but I didn't really feel for any of the characters. The plot was boring, and it was sort of weird at some points, and I feel like maybe I didn't get it. I mean, I got it, but I don't really understand why everybody loves it so much, because it was just too boring. Nothing interesting happened. And I mean, yes, it's a contemporary, so you can't really look at it the same way that you would look at a fantasy book, for example, but I love contemporary books, but this was just not for me. And then we have Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Neuvel. Sorry for butchering that name. So this one I actually listened to audiobook during vacation as well. But it was an interesting concept, you know, with the sort of giant hand that the girl fell into, and then they found more and more pieces that they sort of, I want to say robot, but I'm not sure that's the term they use for it. But I didn't really get connected with any of the characters. It was weird and annoying, and I didn't really like the format of it, which is weird because I like the Illumina files, which are different kind of formats, like chat and everything like that. But this one just sort of, not almost all only like interviews and stuff, but I feel like it was really hard to get to know the characters and actually care for them. And yes, there was some interesting plot twists in it, but just not enough to hook me on it. And it's just one of those series that I'm just not going to continue on with. I have The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. This was actually one of the very last books that I ended up listening to, technically, in 2018. And I feel like I would have loved it a lot more if you hadn't listened to it, because I listened to the audiobook, wasn't really sold for the narrator. It's just kind of a little bit dull. So I just kind of turned it off in my head and didn't really listen that well. And I feel like that might have affected my thoughts about the book. But I like the concept about the, you know, the Russian folklore and everything like that. But I didn't really connect with the characters, and I was a little bit bored. But like I said, I might have liked it more if I read the physical format, because I know a lot of people love this book, but the narrator was just not good. So I don't think I'm going to continue on with the series, because then I would probably have to read the book again to be able to remember what the hell happened, and I don't want to do that. But yeah, those were the 8 books that fell a little bit short for me in 2018. I'm really happy that it was only 8 books, because I mean, I read 150, so it definitely could have been a lot more books that was not really my taste. So I'm really happy about that, actually. But if you read any books in 2018 that you didn't really like, please let me know down below why you didn't like them, without spoiling, of course. And if you like this video, please don't forget to give me some thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel by clicking the little button down below. And yeah, I hope we see each other in the next one. Bye!